Over 1 month ago now, I made a video talking about the best Forsaken characters, depending on your playstyle. However, to be honest, this video is pretty outdated and some of the information is just completely wrong. So in this video, I'll be giving you a completely updated and new video on who the best Forsaken survivors are, so you can pick your perfect main. But before we carry on with the video, let me explain some things. There are 3 different classes of Forsaken characters: Survivalists, Sentinel, and Support. I'll be going over 2 characters from each category, so you have a selection of up to 6 characters to pick from this video. But before we carry on, make sure to like and subscribe. I'm trying to get to 10,000 subscribers by the end of next month, so your support would help me out a ton. Since the last video, the role of survivalist has kind of changed, going from 3 survivors to only 2 survivors, having Noob and 007 and 7. So let's go over both of them, because they're both pretty solid. Let's first talk about Noob. I'd made a video on Noob quite a while ago, so you can watch that video for a more in-depth explanation. But Noob is the default character that you get. He's pretty cool, having Bloxy Cola giving you speed, a slate skin potion which boosts your defense, a ghost burger which makes you invisible, and many more perks which suit players who aren't as experienced at the game. The Noob is pretty overpowered, especially when you're trying to complete tasks and just play the game as usual. While it only helps itself, it is still a pretty nice character, and it can be used to distract the killer when your teammates need it. It has 100 health, 12 regular speed, and is completely free for you to try out, so feel free to use it if you like it. However, let's go on to the second survivor list, 007 and 7. He costs $500 and has many abilities, such as a cloning ability, an ability called Core GUI, where the character stays in place for 6 seconds before teleporting extremely far away from the killer, and Inject, where upon activation, the clones created using 007 and 7's cloning ability will have their movement type switched, meaning it will be able to aimlessly wander, it will be able to pathfind, and it will move towards the player's cursor, which can be extremely good for dealing with the killer. 007 and 7 has 100 health and has pretty basic stats. However, he is pretty good for distraction, making him a formidable player. To know if you're the right person to pick a survivalist, you need to be a more solo player, since none of the survivalists really have any perks to helping their teammates. You need to be able to defend yourself and survive all on your own, which might not suit some of your guys' playstyles. However, if it does, then these 2 characters are perfect for you. Let's now move on to the second section, Sentinel. Sentinel survivors focus on stunning the killer while protecting their teammates. They often have higher health or regeneration abilities, acting as somewhat of tanks. Right now there are 4 Sentinels, and I'll be going over my 2 favorite Sentinels, starting off with Shedletsky. Shedletsky is now a free character in the Forsaken shop. He has 2 main attacks, a slash where he deals 30 damage and stuns the killer for 3 seconds, and Fried Chicken, where Shedletsky pulls Fried Chicken out, being able to heal over 35 HP over the span of 10 seconds. His character is pretty simple, however for those who are more into that simple playstyle, he is your perfect pick. However, your next pick is Guest 1337. Guest 1337 is pretty overpowered. He has a base of 115 health and costs $500. He has many abilities, such as a block ability where he braces for impact, applying resistance 5 to his character, a charge ability where he charges to his opponent, dealing a large amount of damage, and even a punch attack where he can stun any killer within range of his punch, being pretty overpowered. Guest 1337 also has a passive ability called Made to Last, where he has an extra 15 HP, and where he has hit priority over other survivors and buildings, which is pretty overpowered to be honest. These 2 characters are perfect for you if you guys are more into PvP and like tanking damage for your teammates, especially Guest 1337. So if you fit that criteria, these are the perfect characters for you. The last category I'll be going over is support, basically support characters like healers and longer ranged characters. I'll be going over 2 different characters, starting off with Duseka. Duseka is a new character released pretty recently. I went over him on my last video, but he's still pretty overpowered and loads of people don't use him, making him even more unpredictable. While he costs $600 and only has 9 health, he is still pretty overpowered, having a bunch of really cool abilities. His passive ability of levitation makes it so that you can't hear when he walks around, being extremely useful for a support character. However, what really shines about him are his 2 abilities. His plasma beam ability is super overpowered, where he shoots a beam which is pretty overpowered. Although it does slow down Duseka, hitting a killer with the beam will give them slowness 2 for 3 seconds, while hitting a survivor with the beam would give them speed 1 for 4 seconds. His next attack is Spawn Protection, where he can cast a protective shield on an ally for up to 8 seconds with infinite range, granting the ally with resistance 4 and inflicting the Duseka with slowness 1. He is pretty overpowered, and although he does debuff himself when he is right, he is super overpowered. The last support character I'll be going over is Builderman. Buildsman only has 90 HP and is worth $500, however he's still pretty formidable. While he doesn't have any passive abilities, his 2 abilities are pretty overpowered. His first is Sentry Construction. Well, although he receives weakness 1, he can construct a sentry in front of him, which are basically turrets. These can be extremely helpful in distracting the killer and keeping them off your track. Each sentry has 30 health and inflicts slowness 2 and deals damage to any nearby character if struck. His next ability is Dispenser Construction, where he creates a dispenser which has 15 health and are pretty overpowered, and is super nice for getting HP as soon as possible. Well, while both support characters do have debuffs to themselves, they're support characters, so the debuffs don't really affect them much. If you're a character who likes to stay on the sidelines and support their teammates, these are the right people for you. If you reached the end of the video, make sure to like and subscribe. I hope this video did help you out a ton, and if you subscribe, you'll see more of my videos on your feed throughout the holidays. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all later.